Thanks so much for joining me back here at Craft Corner. I'm Kristen Perotti, and today I'm going to show you how to make this penguin paradise. You're going to need a shoebox, some construction paper, some cotton balls, pipe cleaners, glue. I have white glue and super glue here just in case, an egg carton, paint brushes, black acrylic paint, some scissors, pom-poms, googly eyes, and some decorative holiday items, and something to write with. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my egg carton and my scissors, and I just wanna cut one part out of here. So you might notice that I'm using bigger scissors than I have in my previous crafts. That's because it's just easier to cut the egg carton with. You can try to use child-safe scissors, but it just might take you a little bit longer. And I'm cutting a styrofoam carton because it's just a little bit easier than the other types of egg cartons that they have. And then you are going to come out with a piece that looks like this. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my paintbrush. I have a foam brush, but you can use any type of brush, and my black acrylic paint. Now, this is a little bit of a trade-off because the styrofoam carton was easier to cut, but it's a little bit harder to paint as opposed to a paper carton. So you're gonna need a decent amount of paint. Kind of just wanna make sure it's covered. You don't want any white spots to show through. And if you kind of brush it on gently, you should be able to get to where we need to be. Okay, so I have the front done, and as you can see, there's no white showing through on the front, so that's exactly what you want. I'm just gonna put this off to the side for now, and I'm gonna start cutting my box. Now, this is another part that can get a little bit difficult just because of the shape, and you kind of have to cut corners a little bit, so I'm gonna keep using my bigger scissors. And it's easy enough to cut straight down the side, but then when we get to the corner, it just gets a little bit more difficult. You kind of have to twist the scissors a little bit, so I definitely, suggest helping your child. It took me a little while to do this when I did it on the original that I have next to me. You just really have to be patient. You don't want to do it too fast because you don't want to cut too much off of your box, and you don't want your scissors to slip either because you don't want anyone to get hurt. But we are moving right along here. Just have one more corner to cut. All right, almost there. And like I said, it's just a little bit awkward because of the shape of it and how you have to hold it. But just take your time with it, don't worry about it. And obviously you can clean it up a little bit, but you just want to make sure this front piece is off of it so you can see your display. And now I want to show you how to cover the box. You're going to need to use construction paper and cover the inside of it. So I'm just going to move this over to the side because I have two sides done on here. So we're going to bring this out into the middle. And I have the two blue sides. So I'm gonna take my third blue sheet. And the first thing you kind of want to do here is, just get an idea of where it needs to be. So you can rest it on the side and then kind of just fold it down. Just so you know where you need to put your glue. And this doesn't have to be perfect as long as it sits on there and it covers the box. That is our goal. So, going to take our paintbrush, and I have white glue in here. White glue should work fine for everything. I have super glue on the side just in case. So you just need a little bit. Putting it right on the box. Don't go crazy with it. Just gonna smooth it on there. And I'm just putting glue on the outside. You don't even need it on the inside because once you fold it, it's just gonna sit on there nicely. So again, I'm gonna give it a nice fold. And you're just gonna smooth it out. Okay. And that's all you're really gonna do there. It's pretty simple. You can trim the edge if you want, but you know, as long as it's just covering, you know, we don't see any part of the shoebox, we don't see the cardboard on the inside, so now it looks like a penguin paradise in there. And if you're still waiting for your penguin to dry, it does take a little while. So you can either leave it overnight or there are a couple other things that we can do. So I am going to make a little belly for my penguin. I'm going to use white construction paper for that. And I'm going to take a pen or a pencil or a marker, whatever you have is fine. And I'm just going to make a shape that looks like that. It's really small, nothing too complicated. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out and I'm just going to put it to the side for now. Now I'm still using bigger scissors, obviously, to cut out paper. It's not necessary. You can move to your child safe scissors at this point. But I want to try to round this off a little bit. And I'm going to put that right over here so I don't lose it. And then I'm just going to put my white paper to the side. And we're going to take orange and we're going to make the penguin's little feet. So you want them to be about the same size. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger just in case I need to trim them down. And it looks pretty much the same as a belly, just orange. Take my scissors again and just cut them out. Again, this helps children with their motor skills. And you can use anything to draw these, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we have his little feet to the side. And the next thing I'm gonna do with the orange paper is I'm gonna make him a little nose. So that's just gonna be a little triangle. Now you could also just freely cut out a triangle if that's easier. Just figure out what works for you and then you can go with that. And since these pieces are really small, I'm taking care to put them right next to me all in the same spot because I don't want to lose them. And then finally, we're going to take our black paper. Now, if you're using a pen, you can still kind of see it on the black paper. In our Halloween video, we used chalk for our black paper, so if you want to bring the chalk back out for this, it's totally fine. And I don't know if you can see this, but I have my little wings right here. And again, I just draw everything a little bit bigger just in case I need to trim it down later. And that also prevents you from having to redo anything. It's always better to make it a little bit bigger because you can always cut it down. So again, we're working on our fine motor skills here. Making little wings for a penguin. Our paper is going to go to the side and we're going to go over here. So the next thing that I want to make for a penguin is little earmuffs. This is where the super glue might come in, but I'm going to try my best to do this with white glue. So I have these fancy red and white pipe cleaners. They came like this, but you can always twist two together or you can use any color you want. I'm going to cut it about here. And that's probably going to be too big. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And the idea is to make it look like earmuffs. So that should fit over a penguin's head, but we're not done. We're gonna take our pom-poms, I'm gonna use blue. And this is where it could get a little tricky with the glue. Like I said, I'm gonna try my best with the white glue. I don't have too much luck with white glue, but it did work for me the first time, so I'm just gonna apply it right onto the pipe cleaner. And then we're gonna hope that these pom-poms stick on there. So I'm just gonna hold that there. Now with white glue, you have to hold it there for a little bit longer than you would if you were to use super glue or hot glue, but it's a lot safer if you're working with kids for them to use white glue. So, you know, just decide what works best for you. Okay, I think we're good with one. And let's do the other one. You don't really need a lot, but you need enough to, you know, really just kind of get it on there. And again, we're just holding it for a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna set that to the side. If they fall off, I'm just gonna go to my super glue because that's gonna be the easiest thing. Now, if you're still waiting for your penguin to dry, there are a couple other things you can do. You can decorate your background, you can draw, you know, a nice little scene on the back wall there. You can add a little ice rink in the middle, make your penguins ice skating penguins, but I have a dry penguin over here. So I'm just gonna work off of this one. And the first thing I'm gonna do here is take my googly eyes. And I start with the eyes because it's just easier to place everything else around the eyes. You can start with whatever you like. Maybe that's not easier for you. And again, I'm gonna use my white glue. And we're just gonna put it right where I want my first eye to be. And we're just gonna plop it right on there. Now they may slide a little bit, but they should stay in place eventually. Try not to bump into them. I know it might be a little bit hard. Okay, do the other one. Okay, perfect. Our eyes are on. And then I'm gonna go to the nose. So for the nose, I'm gonna put glue on the penguin again. Just because the nose is so small, wouldn't really make sense to try to glue it directly on the nose. Awesome, okay. So you really didn't have to hold that in place too much. White glue is fine for gluing paper. And I'm gonna take his belly next. And again, we're gonna apply the glue directly to the penguin. Just about where his little belly would be. And okay, so we have his little belly on there. He's starting to look really cute, right? He's almost done. Not quite. So the next thing I'm gonna add are the wings. And you don't really have to add wings because some of the egg carton pieces have like little sides that kind of look like wings if your penguin is like standing like this. I like to add wings because I think it gives the penguin a little bit more character. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So that's the first one. I just put it on his sides, you know. I think it makes him look a little bit cuter. again, white glue is perfectly fine. We have his little wings on there. So this is your standard penguin, but I want to give him some accessories. And then we're going to do the feet last because we're actually going to glue those onto the box first and then just place our penguin on top. If you try to glue the feet onto the penguin, it gets a little bit difficult because they don't like to stay on, they fall off a little bit. So that's why I'm just going to move to the accessories right now. And I'm going to take my little bows that I have here. And I got these at the craft store, and that one kind of broke on me, but it's actually really convenient because they have sticky backs. So if you peel it off the right way, the back is just like a sticker. So I'm going to put that right here under his nose, over his belly a little bit. Ooh. Okay. So now he's a sharp dressed penguin, but he still needs earmuffs. So you can either try to glue these onto your penguin's head or just rest them on there. I prefer to just rest them on there just because it's a little bit easier than messing with the glue too much. So my penguin has a little bit of a big head. But he is sharp dressed and ready for winter. So now we are going to complete our box so he can hang out with his friends and have some fun. So I have some trees in here. I have the tiny version of those trees here. And what I did was I just put the glue on the base of the tree. Like that. You just want to cover the base. And then you just stick it right down into the box. So right on the cardboard before you put any of the cotton balls, because it's just easier that way. You know, you can try to put the trees on top of the cotton balls, but I would suggest pulling them apart and kind of flattening them out just so they can stand up. Okay, so we have our tree in there. And I'm just going to add the rest of our cotton balls. I left that space open just so I could show you how to glue it down. And you just put some glue right in the box. Might get a little bit messy, but that's okay. It wouldn't be crafting if it wasn't a little bit messy. And then you just push it down on there, and you know, it stays pretty well itself. You might not even need glue. I mean, you can just place them in there, but it's a little bit easier to kind of just glue them down with something. So if you pick it up and you move it around, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna fall off. And let's see, I'll put one more in there. Okay. Okay, great. So now our penguin is ready to join his friends. I'm going to take his feet. And let's see if I want to. I'm going to put the glue on his feet, because if I try to put the glue on the cotton balls, it's going to get a little bit messy. And you might just have a little bit of a hard time with it. So right on his foot, just a little bit is fine. You know, just enough to hold it down. And I'm gluing it right onto the cotton balls. You know, space them apart accordingly. I'm going to place them in there so you can see a little bit of his feet. Okay, I'm going to put his earmuffs back on so he's ready for the snow. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some presents. You can see them in there already, but I'm just gonna add a couple more. I didn't glue these down at all, I just placed them in there. You can glue them down if you'd like. But this completes our penguin paradise. I hope you enjoy making this project. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kristen Perotti, and I'll see you next time.